Hello.
Hello? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So my link is
Wait up.
not co-organizer, so I cannot share my screen. So, but it's okay.
Okay, can.
Mm.
Okay, so I think, okay, so now,
Or can you make me the organizer? Okay. No, I'm presenter too. Okay. Thank you.
okay, good afternoon, everyone. But I think now it's 3 p.m. sharp, but let's wait for a few more minutes, maybe 3 minutes before we start. So that, okay. Okay, we wait 2 more minutes. We'll start probably around 3 past 3 minutes. Huh? Um, Okay, I think probably let's start uh, today's training. Let me share my screen.
Oh.
Okay, can see my screen, right?
Can. Yes, can.
Okay, I think 2 weeks ago, we have conducted the training, the more on the basic training using example to illustrate how can we implement the I am Web Purchase Requisition. So today we'll be focused on more on those advanced features. So these are the 12 topics we'll cover today. Okay, probably, of course, there are some other topics. Then those topics we can on and off. We'll see there's a need. We'll hold web training sessions. But today we'll focus on these 12 topics. So the first topic will be the how to customize a user entry screen. This part is not difficult, so I just quickly run through. Okay, let's use this case. Okay, let me. Okay. So to configure those settings, for example, in this user, that say, for the user, probably that the who raised the RP, probably they are not involved on the, let's say, contact with the vendor, maybe not necessary to have the cost information. So in that case, you want to hide those cost information. So for that, and go to the admin portal. So there's usually we have two ways. Is first thing way is like we configure the group setting. Let's say you go and select this entity, your group setting. Let's say we split different groups. Let's say for submitter group, then approval group, you may have different groups. Depends on the needs. So for example, for the user, let's say I just so you go to here, then these are the basic page to let you to decide for this group of your employees, what are the modules they can access. Okay. And this one is focused for the detailed configuration for the purchase requisition. So inside this page, you can see there's a submitter and approver. Submitter means these settings is to is for the users who used to create this purchase requisition. And for this approvers portion is for those users, let's say let's say for the approvers, right? Manager go in. So the manager go in when the manager want to approve the requisition, so open the requisition. So how this screen looks like. These are based on the approvers load setting. So if the user involved the need for these submitter not involved on approval, not put it in the approval list, then you can ignore on this one. But if let's say the same employee may cover both, it may also create the requisition and also may be a part of the approval in the approval process flow, then both portions you need to set up. Okay, so here is also like split as the header. These are the setting for the header portion, and the detail portion is in the second sections. And then there's others. Others is more for control for those buttons below. Okay, and some other settings. So those things, there's many options. I will not go through the details today. You can try and see. That's maybe I just do a quick one. For example, for the this user, right? We don't want them to see the cost, so you can hide the cost. You don't need to see. You can just set to no. Okay, so these are then saved. So because this change is on the group, so you can assign to the go and click on here. You assign to the employees. Okay, so you click then go to assign. Okay. So you got come to here. Let's say now user. So if user now if come to this requisition, right? You will see the unit cost column is gone. Okay, so the most recent cost you want to hide can come here. Also have the additional this additional unit cost. We can also hide this one. Okay, so I will not. So this one is to change to the group setting. So if let's say the company the user count is not a lot, then maybe you just like, okay, for each user you want to customize, you can just go and uh, direct go to these users and then look for the user and go and change. Okay. So you can go and, for example, now let's say I hide the additional cost. So you can change. Okay, and that's safe. So now if you so the additional cost is also hidden. Okay, so these are not difficult. So I just quickly explain like this. Okay, then some of the settings in the back end also affects the displays. So in the Procure-to-Pay options, there's a decimal place for unit cost. So if sometimes by default it could be, let's say 0. So in that case, it will determine probably, you see, for example, sometimes if maybe accidentally you set this to 0, then you think, hey, how come I cannot enter the decimal amount, let's say put to 0. Okay, so then you will see, okay, now I need to go back to add the price. So just so in this case, you want to edit cost, let's say so so see all the cost is all round to the integer. You cannot set, let's say you want to set a $20.50, cannot, you will go back to the new. So if it happen, you see this, go to this, change the setting here. Okay. Okay, and then there's another one is the display comment box on submission. So you can set to none. So when you submit, you will no comment box to that the submitter to or the maker to put a comment. But you want to have a box, so you can set accordingly. So if you set to default as document description, that means you will pop out a comment box with the fade up with the pre-fade up with a comment is the same as document description, or default as specified, you can put some predefined comment used as a default, or it's just default as blank. Let's say default blank. So if on the user now submit, okay. So, oh, sorry, I need to refresh. Oh, so it will pop out a comment box for that the submitter to fill out the comments. So those are another one. And then there's a display additional cost. Just now we see here I got one called the additional cost, right? So if you enable this additional cost. So it will pop out most recent cost, or you click here detail, it will give you all the different type of cost for these items. So these costs the formula is that's actually is follow the SAGE, actually taken from the SAGE inventory module, IC module. So this one is useful for the may not be for the submitter, but it's good for the approver or for the buyer. So let's say for the approver or buyer, you can enable this for them. Okay, so these are some of the tips for these settings. Okay, so the second will be I will go through this RFQ. RFQ is like sometimes the user may client may ask you, okay, I want to keep this quotation RFQ request quotation information in the system, right? So in that case, they don't want to be, let's say, keep it in the outside email or somewhere later on, difficult to search, right? So to find out, so now if you want to that, then the first thing is we need to, in the purchase type, under the purchase type, for example, this one, you need to turn on this option. And then these are the settings you can set. Okay, send quotation email to vendor, or then this part is more for web request, for the so-called the web module, the request for code. So this one data I explained, but the first thing you need to enable this, and then we can also check number of code needed for put some conditions. For example, some company have the policy say, okay, if the purchase total more than 1,000, or then you need at least 3 codes. Okay, so that's are some rules. So after you enable this, then for those users you which, let's say, want to manage the code, this quotation, then you need to grant the access right for this user. So these are under the purchase requisition, under others. So you can see here, first display code, edit code. Okay, so give them the right to display, to show, to view this code, and then these are text, and then you can give the right to whether can edit the quotation, and then whether has the right to select, and then whether to, when you click the approve or reject or submit the time, to validate these rules we set, to validate, to execute these rules, whether that say fulfill the requirement or not. Okay, so basically these are the okay. So these are the, so this you need to set, display code is set to allow to show the code tag in the screen. Edit code is to allow edit or add quotation in this screen. Select code to allow to select which vendor to select, and then the validate code to validate. So let's see. Let's say I give the right to the buyers to have this. Let's say usually the buyer, he has the need to have the right to do this. So you can say, oh, buyer can display code and edit code. So now let's say if a buyer is logging, so buyer is in the approval loop. Based on this one is still the last week that we created the workflow. It's like same. Remember the workflow we created last week? Okay, so this the approval workflow, right? So it's buyer is in this tab. Okay, so you can see buyer, you can see this quotation tab. So buyer can add a code, let's say select the quotation, then add the code, then fill up. So of course, this one is meaning buyer maybe through phone call or to email to contact the vendor and get the price, let's say $12, then can put it here. Okay, and what is the lead time and all this, and then contact another vendor and add a code here, something like this. Okay, so these are the add the code. So the buyer, you can add, and then here you can see the quotation details for the items. Okay, and you can attach the document for each item. You can, okay, for example, just attach and save. So you will be have the, so you can, let's say these are the some supporting document from the vendor, so you can attach here. Okay, so these are the, let's say, manually manage these to keep the code information in the system. Okay. So after you add this, for example, after we add and we save, basically in the this document is this document is 003. PR03. So we go to here, you can come to purchase requisition this PR03. So in the system, actually it keep this quotation info. You can see here the columns. So you click here, you see the similar information as what we have in the just now on the web UI, right? So these are the informations. So now then people usually ask, okay, normally we also have one so-called request for quote from web, directly send the email to the vendor. So right, that one you need a separate license. So for this, for now, because you can see now this screen don't have only have this add code, don't have the license because this system. And you look at the admin and look at here, come to here, you check the license information. This license is web request for code. Now don't have. So if I activate a license for that, okay, so I choose the license. I choose a license is let's say I have code one. Okay, so now then you look at for this file, I have this one called for this option display whether it's display or not, the request for code. Ask vendor to click. Okay, let's see. Okay, request for code, whether it's allowed to let this buyer to access or not. So it's now I put it allowed. So and here you buyer login. So for example, this. Okay, so now you will see this extra button come out, right? The request for code. So this one is this button to add code is manually. You can add code quotation here, so that keep this quotation information in the system. So if you have this button, then you click the button, you'll see a page like this, and you can add the vendor. Let's say add. Okay, I add vendor. Let's say this one, and then I want to let the system send the email to directly send a link to the vendor so that vendor can submit the code from the web instead of, let's say, to email or phone call separate. So you can put the expired date. Okay, so you can put this, let's say, oh, expire by tomorrow. So you that vendor submit by as soon as possible. ASAP. Okay, so you can put, then you just send. These are the items that say you want to send to the vendor. So you click send. So you will send the email to the vendor. Okay, so these are sent to the vendor. So then the vendor will receive the email. The 323, right? It receive this email. So vendor can create a link. So this will be the vendor. You can see the items is here. So vendor can go and create a link and provide the lead time, the information required. Okay, and then what is the price? Okay, let's say $13. Okay, so then vendor can also put a comments, place order ASAP. Okay, so then click this. So once the vendor click submit the code submitted, right? Click this link, it will come here, but cannot resubmit again. Okay. So then in the buyer side will after you receive so buyer you need to, let's say, buyer will also receive a notification say the vendor the receipt. So that's the notification receive say, oh, I have already received So this one quote submit. The vendor wants submit, then it will send to the notification. So the buyer can come here to again and do this. You can see the code is added. See the 135 automatically add here, right? So if let's say you can also resend the code to, if let's say modify, you can create this one and then send again. Okay, can resend. Okay, and maybe ask the vendor to revise the price or something. And then after that, you have the cheat code because of it has a right to select the code, so you can create this one. If you don't have right, then this user it can only input the code but cannot select. Okay, so these are the about the RFQ lah. So basically, these are the key steps and settings for the RFQ. Okay, so make sure no. Okay, so these are the RFQs. Okay, and then you see in the back end, you can see all the code information is keep in the system. Okay, so now I move on to the approval workflow. Okay, so for the approval workflow, there's a few things. Comes here. For the approval workflow, those are settings related to that. First thing is the global setting under the options. So you come to here, there's a processing. These are the options. So we need to enable this to use the approval workflow. And then this option called blank rejection command checking. So meaning you put none, that means when the approver want to reject the system, there's no enforcement to let the approver put some comment. But if you put some warning, that means the approver must put some comment. If not, then you provide warning. Or if you put arrow, then if no comment, you will not allowed to reject to proceed. Okay, so these are the settings. And then is another one is called send email notification on rejection from backend. Meaning if let's say this one of the purchase requisition has already been approved, but then from the backend I check we check, oh now this one I need to create one approved. Then you want to reject from backend, then you will send an email. Okay, to tick this. If you don't tick, then you reject from bank will not send email notification to the submitter. So this one allow manually specify the recipients during approval process. Okay, so if enable this, okay, so I just enable this. Okay, so now if for example this file they approve, so for example the buyers decided which code to go. Let's say choose this one, and then to approve. So you see here, see this portion specify more recipient to notify if inquiry required. Let's say this you can put some. So same as our email Outlook. If you have multiple recipient, you put a semicolon. Okay, and choose one of the email template and click OK. It will notify to these are extra specify the recipients here. Okay, so these are for this purpose. Okay, so these are the settings in the global setting in this under options, and then under here the workflow. Okay, so let's choose. Okay, here's some options. So okay, let's start. Okay, so these are the settings. Okay. So now come to this. There's you look at this. We have the escalation. Okay. What's the purpose of this one? for some of the company, for example, in my previous company, they want to encourage people go travel, and so that the finance say, okay, as long as you come back and you claim, we will guarantee to process within 1 month. So if these are, then you need to make sure the approval don't hold on the process, otherwise may drag for too long. So in this case, we can set the escalate to the next level if, let's say, current approval is not processed in how many days. Okay, so these are the settings. Okay, then actually when you click enable this, system tell you we need to do the add a scheduler. To this scheduler actually is to send a notification email to, and then process to auto escalate to move on to the next level. So the scheduler setting is in the scheduler setting. You can come to admin portal. Okay, so these are come to admin portal. So here got the common service, the schedules. So schedule that this one I already created. If you don't have, you can create add. So it will be something like this. So this one I created. So for to escalate the PR, the purchase requisition. So this one to set determine what is your frequency, and then it is daily, then every 1 day or 2 day, or you want to be monthly, then you decide which day of the month or every day you want to execute this step, this schedule task. Similar like the frequency setting is similar like the Windows task scheduler. The concept is similar. Okay, so then here make sure for this escalation, you make sure you choose R0008 auto escalate workflow per setting. And then after that, you select these are the which entity and which type of documents. And then this one urgent is to determine escalate only for those urgent purchase requisition, or is those non-urgent, or all the document, no matter it's urgent or not urgent. And then after you keep start, add start meaning make it active. And if you put on hold, that means this one will become on hold, become not active. So it start mean make it active. Okay, and this run make it immediately trigger to run. Okay, but this one is set to as overall, so you still have the flexibility to determine, because in the workflow there's so many approvers involved, right? So probably you don't want to every approval can be escalate and skip if you not process. So you can decide here, put the allow escalation, which approval allow escalation, and then if they say how many days not processed, then escalate to the next level. So these are the settings you can set to conflict or make it. So others let's say for finance, because it's like key approval, so cannot be escaped. So it will not, you just set to no, so don't allow to escalate. Okay, so these are the features for the escalation in the approval workflow. And then this option, rejection options. I sometimes, because we always say the approval, you approve the document and then move to the next level. Then what about the approval reject the document? The reject you can by set to always reject back to the submitter, or you can decide that the actioner to decide, okay, I want to reject to maybe just a previous step of the approval, or you want to, let's say, these are the default to is, meaning when you give it the option by show you these are, you can still can select. Okay, so for example, these are reject back to, so let's take a look. So for example, now this one, the buyer want to reject, so you can just reject. So put or no comment. See, just now we say no comment, put warning, right? So this give warning. So if we say no, okay, so we put some comment. Okay, so revise quantity. Okay, so okay, so I need to, sorry. So after change, we need to refresh. Otherwise, we have to reject this one. Okay, see, reject. You will reject to, you can select reject to previous step or the reject to the submitter. Okay, so these are the to reject the. Okay, and then this one transfer option. If you enable this, then you will see these options here. You will see the transfer. Transfer meanings are probably like this approver look at this requisition and think the he or she is not at the right position to approve this one, and think the other maybe manager or supervisor is more appropriate. Then you can transfer this document to someone else. Okay, can transfer to the person thinks is more appropriate. And this one is the endorsement. Endorsement means I the approver look at this item to purchase, but it's like say doubt whether I need some expert to give a comment to say uh, is it right to proceed or no? So you can request for the endorsement. So you can retest. So endorsement you can here if let's say allow transfer to, you can select from the employee group or can select to let's say anyone, any employee. So for example, you select from the group, you can say select from the endorsement group, maybe expert group lah. So if you select this, then it show only the in the list endorsement, you click request endorsement, it only show the list, only the peoples in the endorsement group. So you click here. So only the people in the endorsement group. So these are the group. Endorsement group is defined here, employee group. Okay, so employee group we define here. So these are the 3 persons. So you can select only one or multiple from here. You can add. You can add. Okay. Okay, and you can. Okay, so now we proceed. So you look at this. Is still under the pending on. So it will show you the purchase request is placed on hold until endorsement place. So in this case, then you look at this approval. So it's need these two to endorse. Okay. So if no endorsement, it will not proceed. Okay. So these are the endorsement and transfer functions. Okay, and then the workflow, you also is very powerful. It's like it also have the option called avoid duplicate approval. The duplicate is like sometimes when you create a workflow, it's very complicated. You set the different roles, and then if the person is happily based on the rules, based on whether it's supervisor, budget manager or something, then it happened 2 times, then it's no point to check one more time. So you can enable this. But sometimes you cannot enable because sometimes your workflow require the submitter or for the same approval to review again after other approvers action. So these are the options. Okay. And then in the workflow, we look at this one, you choose a process. And then here you can see there's many options you can choose. Okay, you can choose many options. Okay, so this part, this part I will use this to show. This one is escalation. I have showed the okay, so these are is reject. So you can see the reject. So now it's approvers, right? So we have the so these are specific employees, so you can define a fixed employee in this workflow the process. If you put the supervisor is a supervisor of the submitter. You choose the department manager. That means these are the department manager. This step it will be brought to the department manager. So where to define the department manager is here. Okay, so it's under. It will be determined by under the setup, right? Here you will see there's a department manager. If here you got the setting up, and then for the employee, because in the employee register, right? Actually, we define this employee will be under which department. Okay, so based on the, let's say now the submitter is fall on, let's say, department, finance department. So the finance department manager will go and process. If the setting is used is this one is the, so that's if we choose the department manager. So if it's a PJC contract manager, then there is a contract manager defined in PJC contract maintenance screen. And employee group, just now we see, right, the employee group in the employee group defined in this here. Here, right? So I have encountered one that say inquiry about how to, let's say this one is to show how can we use let's say employee group. Okay, you can choose. For example, there are some of the business, the client, their business is let's say seasonal difference is a lot. So maybe in the peak season, they want to hire a temp staff to help to validate for to reduce some of the work for the next approval. So you can put, okay, I can add the group called temp staff. For example, I temp staff. So when the peak season comes, okay, I add the temp staff to in the loop. Okay, I can add the temp staff in the loop. Okay, I can add the temp staff in the loop. So in this case, you can specify any temp staff, any you need to specify one temp staff to process, or any approvers in this group can process, then consider done, or you require all the staff defined in this group to have processed, then consider this step can be moved to next step, or half or more or specified number if it's say, or at least one or two process. So these are the options you can use. Okay, so I illustrate because for before this training, I actually create another one called the temp staff, this one. Okay. This part. So I put it, let's say insert this. So you can see you can, for example, okay, after buyer, probably you can insert this pre-check. So you can put a employee group. So after the peak season, then say, oh, now the temp engineer, let's say the contractor or something, they say now it's no more temporary, no more in the company, then you can, okay, then I can just remove this from the loop. Okay, so you don't need to modify the workflow. So if the group the people in this step is empty, then the system is smart enough to just skip this one and move to the next one. So this one is very flexible. Okay. Okay, so this then it will be, and then another way that say to use the employee group is, for example, the company maybe is not big, but it's a one dedicated people process the purchasing request. Okay, so let's say one purchase for different departments. So if they purchase for department A, then the document route to department A. The purchase for department B, then need to ask for the department B manager to approve. So you can create a group called manager group. Then you put the manager of department A, manager of department B in. So on the staff request this purchase, then can, because the staff knows this one is purchased for which department, then can select which manager to approve. So you can use the employee group, is quite flexible. Okay, so the budget manager is the one to be used, is based on these okay, this one you need to enable this RM budget, and then you can have the under the budget manager, this one budget group, the defined one called the budget manager. Okay, and then there you can also use a custom role. So custom role is like you can define I give just a simple custom row is using this one to define. Okay. Custom row. So I just do a simple example. So for example, I define supervisor of current actioner. So this one you can use SQL script to define for this row. So use this one. You can define as a row or variable. Okay, and then this row is based on detail based or document based. So with this, you define this row. For example, okay, here in this one, if you put supervisor meaning supervisor of the submitter, but you put the custom row. Okay, so then okay, so this one is not the custom row is not defined. Okay, so I need to choose supervisor of the current actioner. So okay, for the so when you this the step comes out, then you say, oh okay, then I need to give it to the this supervisor of the previous step one. Okay, so these are example of how we, but of course in the real scenario it be more complicated, but it all depends on how you define this using the SQL script to define. And okay, then the data dictionary because here you involve on using the tables. So data dictionary you can go to the norming website to download. Okay, the data dictionary you can download from there. I think everyone knows, right? If you go to the norming website, under resource manager, then you can download from here, technical resource. Okay, so you have the data dictionary. Okay, so these are the data. Okay, so these are the rows, and then let's say another one, the submitter itself. Okay, so you can also utilize this one in as a step of approval. Okay, so that's the for the approvers the function in this for the workflow. Okay. Okay, so okay, right. So then the one more thing I need to want to just to introduce today is this one multi-entity approval, because the Sage DB is a single company DB. So if let's say one approver, for example, CFO, but if in charge of several companies. So if CFO want to approve the document for different entity, the CFO login have to one DB, and then after that process, then go to another DB log. So it's probably a bit tedious. So the I'm developed this one is available from IM 2025 PU1 onward. It's a module-based license, unlimited users. So it provides a single and unified interface for approval to approve requests from multiple companies. So approval no need to log into different companies for approval. Okay, so these are actually improve the work efficiency a lot. Okay. Just give you an example. Okay, you can see this one, you have to come to here to verify. Come to this license, you go and check. This one I don't have, right? So I need to update with the license file, includes this multi-entity approval. Okay, so it's a multi-entity. Okay, so okay, so you come to here. If let's say call buyer process multiple. So you can see now, can see the difference, right? So you can see because these are under the same system data DB, there's a multiple two companies here. I simulate. So you can see logging to one DB, the buyer can see both, right? You can come to here, can see the purchase requisite, and then you click to this one. Here's the other companies, the other DB. Okay, so this one is a module-based license, unlimited users. Okay, these are about those are advanced feature for the approval workflow. Okay, so let's move on to the next. Okay, multiple vendors in one PR. So if you want to allow user to have, let's say, submit the purchase request, the time then the purchaser maybe or buyer maybe approach different vendor to find the best price for the each item. So the one requisition will include multiple vendors. So in that case, you need to enable this around multiple vendors. So once you enable in the requisition screen, you will see these vendors in the detail line. So you can actually buyer they can specify different vendor for different items. And because of these requisition involve multiple vendors. So some people may think if it's a single vendor, usually here we'll have a tab. If you turn on calculate tax, you have a tab or call tax, but now don't have. So if it's multiple vendor in one PR, you need to click this one, and then it will show separate. It will show, okay, for these different vendor, you click that one, then it will show for that vendor, what's the tax information. Okay. And then when you post these requisitions to 6300, and then if this requisition includes multiple vendor, it will post and generate multiple PO in 6300. So for example, you post this requisition include two vendors, 1200, 1500. Okay, so you post two purchase. And then after post, in this, you check again, it will show you the PO number for each item numbers. Okay, so this it will show there. Okay, so that's about multiple vendor in one web PR. So I will not demonstrate because I think time is going to now it's 3:50, so I will not. So but it's based on this screen is quite clear. So you can just enable, then you can do that. Okay, so how to auto send PO to vendor? So there's an option we call this one, send notification on PO creation, meaning after enable, so you need to enable this under the purchase type. Okay, and then after you enable, it will pop up this more show one more tab called notification recipients, and then go to this tab. You specify who you want to send in this column, send to, and then specify the email template. Specify the email template which used to generate the email to send to the recipients, and then to select the report format. Okay, the PO report format. And then, okay, so after, if let's say, here you see like vendor and all vendor contacts, you may say, okay, what's the difference? If your 6300 has the multiple contact module activated, then this all vendor contacts, it will include the contacts in the multiple contacts. Okay, but of course, this option also need to enable integrate with Sage multiple contacts. Okay, so this one is like it will send a PO to the vendor. Okay, so after this, so maybe I just illustrate. Let me see the quickly show one. Okay, approve don't have, so maybe do this same LTD. Okay, so we need to. Maybe I create one simple one. General manager will, let's say, just approve. After that, we can see the approved one called this. You can check the approval. So the next one is a C, is a buyer. So buyer, come to here. So buyer we just approve. Right. So we can see again what is the. Okay, so we see who is the next step. Okay, the manager, finance manager. Approve. Okay. Okay, so now here we see. Okay, these are the who one, right? So when you go for this one, then you send post this to the 6300. So you see the now generate report. You can see generate report, and then it will send to the vendor, send email to vendor. Okay. Okay, so this one is multiple contact. The vendor is so you have two, right? So in this email, so the vendor will receive the email, and because we attach the PO report, so these are the the PO report. Okay, so the vendor. Okay, so this one it will. So these are then the email format is defined. Just now I mentioned is defined in the purchase type notification. Okay. So it's defined here. Okay. Okay, so that's the about the send PO to vendors. Okay, job related purchase requisition. So you want to this one for PJC for the your 6300 system have the PJC. So you need to go to the setup options screen. These are the global setting. Turn on this integrate with PGC. And then only after you integrate, then in the employee register, this one you can see this option so that you can link the employee number to the PJC and employee. So that's the. So for example, for this DB, for example, for this DB, I don't have the. So you can see this here, employee, you don't have the option to link to the PJC. So if you have the another one, so I create another one. Okay, so for this one, I enable the PJC, then you will see this. So you'll see the related to PJC or not related to PJC. So meaning actually is linked to the PJC employee definition here. Okay, so it to sync between the PJC employee and this resource manager employees. Okay, so then then if
Sorry, Lin Jin, sorry to hello, Lin Jin, sorry to interrupt. Could you please go back to the last slide about for the related PGC related, it's just for timesheet and expenses. It's not for PR. So if just setting,
Yeah, Linda, because if let's say in the workflow, we want to use PJC contract manager, so you need this.
But contract manager, okay, I understand.
Oh,
so you have the same employee ID, right? Okay.
Yeah,
understand.
correct. Because contract manager, you need to use that. If you don't use, then it's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's better you just add lah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what. Okay. So in then in the purchase type, you can enable this called the job related features, and then for purchase job related, if let's say don't allow them to purchase on labor resource, you can enable this. If you not, you just leave it as not selected. Okay. So these are the. So for example, so I have this. So for example, I go to login. These are DB as the enable the PJC. Okay. So you want to choose that say project PO. So this one has the PJC job related enable. So you will see the contract, project, category, and class here. So you can select the contract, okay, and project, category, and class depend. It's as similar as the Sage PO lah. Okay, so it will be the same. You can choose, let's say, I think it's this one is only label. Okay, just for this illustration, I actually label is this employees. Okay, so it just put like this, then you can put the price, and then if let's say now because for this setup, purchase type 02. So for project PO setup type, I use this workflow. This workflow actually inside, like just now I mentioned is I use the PJC contract manager. So you can see a PJC contract. That means the approval will base on these are correct. So when you submit vendor, so okay. Okay, so you will see, right? So it will point to different users, managers, because of these two different contract, the contract manager is different to here. If you look at this contract maintenance, okay, so if you look at this, so this one is a manager, let's say 1. Then if you look at the other one, 22012, will be the manager 2, right? It's the other one. So that's so-called you how to use the PJC contract manager in your approval workflow lah. Okay. Okay, so that's I think it's quite straightforward. You just enable this, and then in the requisition is similar like what you do in the Sage PO lah. You can enter the project, contract project category and the resource so it's quite straightforward now. Okay. So now, okay, so then next will be the auto post requisition. Okay, so you should just now, right? Or we demonstrate, let's say we post a requisition after the RM, we post a requisition from the back end. So for the approved one, we post from here, right? But there's a user say, oh, I don't want to, let's say, access from the dashboard screen. I just let system auto post. Okay, yeah. So we can do config to here. So RM provide the program called the post RM requisition. Is located under the EN. Let's say RM 20225 will be EN 72A. If RM 2024 will be EN 71A. Okay, so it's under here. So this, okay, don't mix this one. Let's say different versions, the file from different, don't copy over, because sometimes because of upgrade may not be compatible. So not recommended to copy this file from older version to this version, or copy this one to another version. Not recommended. Okay, and when you go to this macro folder and you see there's no such file called post-IM requisition INI file, that means this one is haven't set up. The setting is not yet set up. So you need to run this one to set up. So when you run this one, you need to run as an administrator. You run this one, and then you pop up this screen. Okay. So in the company ID here, you can specify the company IDs. Let's say the DB name let's say just now SAM Ltd. Then you have multiple DB, let's say comma SAM L02 or something. And user ID, this one is for the 6300 account. Is user need to have the admin rights one, and the password similar. And this one is 6300 version. It's quite straightforward. And these are what are the transaction types you want to let the system do the auto posting. You can select from here. After you have done, click save, and then INI file will be generated inside the macro folder. Okay, so when this file is present, you double click to this program to run again. It will start to do in the posting mode. It's not in the configuration mode. So you'll start to do the posting. Okay. And then after you configure, you can create a Windows task scheduler in the 6300 application server. So, and then you can configure just to point to the program, the post I'm point to where is the program. No need to put argument, no need to this tool, you can just link. And then you can set the interval, probably like every 15 minutes, execute this to let the system execute this program to post all the those approved requisitions. So these are the steps, let's say, for the auto post requisition. Okay, then substitution. So user also asked, the client asked, because the workflow is quite powerful, but what if they say the approver is on leave, right? So for example, right, I have the two employee, one manager and manager. So on manager on leave, manager one maybe ask manager two to approve requisition on behalf. Okay, so in that case, so you need to set up, let's say go to for the second manager, you need to enable this option called may substitute others. Okay, and then go to the ESS user for the manager one, you need to have this include substitute employees. After that, when the manager one, before the manager one goes on leave, log in to this ESS portal and can go to click this menu called substitute employee, and then go and add the manager one to add on behalf. So you click this, you click this one, add, you'll pop up this screen. So you can choose, let's say, manager 2 to add on behalf, and from which period to which period. Okay, and then what are the requisition documents that say manager can help to add on behalf? So you can tick all these things. After that, then the manager one on leave, right? Manager 2 can log in to the ESS portal, come to here called sign in as. Then you select the sign as manager 1. After that, you'll sign in to as a substitute users, and then go to here, can see this approve list. So that after that, you can approve on behalf of the manager 1. Okay, so these are the typical scenario. But then people ask, okay, what about if the manager 1 on leave but forget to do this? Then the admin can help to do from the admin portal. So admin can log into the admin portal, go to substitute users, and select the entity. And then after that, choose the manager 1 need to be called on leave. So and then go and set the okay, manager 2 is can add on behalf. So these are the settings. So you can follow this one. I think it should be quite clear. Can implement this one. Okay, so these are about the substitution. Okay, so these are the first 8 topics. So the other 4 topics I get Linda to help. So Linda have helped she helped me to pre-record this the steps. So I will demonstrate now. I show these 4 items. Okay. Okay, let me share this. Okay, so 有吧？啊，
I'm going to focus on the topics from 8 to
okay.
Hello, Linjin, no voice.
No sound. Okay, let me reshare. Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
For attending the Army implementation training for purchase requisition. This session is for the settings of some advanced features. I'm going to focus on the topics from 8 to 11. GL account number override, GL budget limit checking, PDC budget or estimate checking, and RM item level budget checking. The GL account number override capability can help you to automate cost allocation across department, region, division, and other setup codes. Now let's see how to configure this feature. Go to RM backend application setup menu, go to GL integration, override page. And there are several settings should be configured for this feature. The first setting is to decide whether to give the error or warning message or give no message when segment override falls. Override falling means the target account does not exist. As we know, a GL account may contain several segments. Here you need to decide which non-account segments to override and where to define the overridden segment codes. Like this example, there are 2 non-account segments which can be overridden. I want to do GL segment codes overridden respectively in RM2 set codes, division and region. So I set up the override mapping rules like this. The third setting is to decide which GL accounts to override. These 2 GL accounts are used in purchase requisition, and you can decide whether to do segment overridden for them. After the first step is done, now you can continue with the step 2 to define overridden segment codes in the relevant setup screens. Based on settings in the previous page, we should define segment codes respectively in divisions and regions. There are 2 settings should be done in the setup code. The first setting, you can decide whether to do segment override for a particular setup code. The second setting is to decide which GL segment code to use. Now it's ready for segment override works. This page demonstrates how segment override works. This screen is before the overriding. You can see the GL account for line 3 is A380-100 and the division segment is 100. After changing the division to retail, now you can see the second segment changed to 200. Because based on the settings for division retail, the second 200 is used to override the previous one. You can see the override works in real time. Here are two notes about the override function. The first note is that the target account follows the source account structure. Like this example, the source account for line 3 has 2 segments. Then the target account has 2 segments too. While for line 1 and 2, override does not work because there is no non-account segments in the source account. The second note is if GL segment override checking is set as warning or none, the target account will be passed to Sage no matter the target account exists or not. Now let's talk about how to set up GL account budget limit checking within Resource Manager. There are 3 steps to configure this function. The first step is to configure some settings in RM Globe Options, which decides the behavior of the GL budget checking function. Now go to Resource Manager backend application, setup menu, open Options screen and go to the budget page. The first setting is to enable GL account budget checking for purchase requisition. Second setting is to decide which GL dataset to check against. The third setting is to decide which budget basis to use. Resource Manager allows you to check budget basis against period basis, yearly basis, or year-to-date basis. The next setting is to decide which transactions to be considered when calculating the budget pending amount. Change the consider column to yes for the transactions you want to consider in the pending amount calculation. The second step is to enable GL budget checking at purchase type level. Decide whether you want to give warning or error message or give no message when GL budget is exceeded. Select this option if you want to use a different workflow if the GL budget is exceeded at the time of submission. Now go to Admin Portal Yes Group or Yes User and Purchase Requisition page to decide whether to show or hide the budget screen for a particular group or user. Now let's see how the GL account budget works in the Web Purchase Requisition module. Clicking the budget button, you will see the budget screen. The fiscal period is period 5 of 2026. This is the GL account used in this purchase requisition. The budget for period 5 is 1,000, while the total amount for this account in this PR is 10,500. Apparently, the budget has been exceeded. That's why the system highlights the available amount in red to remind you. The budget screen also shows the year-to-date budget information. The budget has been exceeded, so when you hit the Submit button, you will receive this warning message tells you your budget has been exceeded. Why the system gives warning? Because it is set up in the purchase type to just give warning, while allows requester to submit the purchase requisition. Now let's talk about how to set up PTC budget or estimate checking within Resource Manager. Resource Manager allows you to check purchase amount against either PTC budget or PTC estimate. Now let's see how to configure norming to check purchase amount against the PTC budget. There are 3 steps to configure this function. The first step is to configure some settings in RM Globe Options, which decides the behavior of the PTC budget checking function. Now go to Resource Manager backend application, setup menu, open Options screen, and go to the budget page. The first setting is to enable PTC budget checking for purchase requisition. The second setting is to select budget for PTC checking by option. The third setting is to decide which PTC budget dataset to check against. The fourth setting is to decide the budget basis. Resource Manager allows you to check budget basis against the period basis, yearly basis, or year-to-date basis. Fifth setting is to decide to check budget at contract, project, or category level. The last setting is to decide which transactions to be considered when calculating the budget pending amount. Change the consider column to yes for the transactions you want to consider in the pending amount calculation. Now let's go to purchase type to enable PTC budget checking at the purchase type level. The First option for you to decide whether to give warning or error or give no message when PTC budget is exceeded. The second option for you to decide whether you want to use a different workflow if PTC budget is exceeded at the time of submission. If you want to do check against the PTC estimate instead of PTC budget, here are the steps. Still goes to Global Options budget page and enable PTC estimate checking for purchase requisition. Select estimate for PTC checking by options. Decide either to check against the original estimate or current estimate. Basis has to be live to date under this type. The next setting is to decide to validate estimate at contract, project, or category level. Decide which transactions to be considered when calculating budget pending amount. The second step is to go to purchase type to enable PTC estimate checking at purchase type level. Decide whether to give warning, error, or give no message when PTC estimate is exceeded. The next thing is to decide whether you want to use a different workflow if PTC estimate is exceeded when submission. If you want to do that, select this option and specify another workflow. Let's go to admin portal, yes group or yes user, and go to the purchase requisition page to decide whether you want to show the budget screen for a particular group or user. Let's see how the PTC budget or estimate checking works in the web purchase requisition module. Clicking the budget button, you will see the PTC budget or estimate screen. And since the system is set up to check at the project level, so you will not see category displays here. If the PTC budget or estimate is exceeded, when you hit the submit button, you will receive either error or warning message per settings. Now let's see how to set up Resource Manager to do RM item level budget checking. The first step is to select the Enable RM budget option in Global Options. Let's go to the backend application, Procure-to-Pay, Purchase Requisition, and go to Budget Options to set up some settings. The first setting is to decide the budget center. A set of code like department, division, call center, region, job, or employee can be used as a budget center. The second setting is to give a default budget object, specified items or all items. The third setting decides the budget basis, period basis, yearly basis, or year-to-date basis. The last setting is to give a default budget controller. The budget controller can be selected in Approve Workflow as an approver. Go to Purchase type to set up the item level budget checking at purchase type level. Like the other budget checking settings, here are two options for you to set up. Give warning or error or no message, whether to use a different workflow when budget is exceeded. The fourth step is go to the admin portal, yes group or yes user, and to decide whether to show or hide the budget screen for a particular group or user. The next step is to define budget groups. Actually, it is the place to define budget rules for each budget center. Select the budget center, hit the division to set up budget rules for. Change the controller if required. Decide the budget object, specified items or all items. Decide the budget basis, period basis, yearly basis, or year-to-date basis. It's time to enter budget amount for items. Go to the budget request entry to enter budget amount. Add as a request type and select a budget group. Specify the fiscal year you want to enter budget amount for. Go to Details page to enter budget amount for each item. The total page sum budget by period. The request entry is finished. You can go to budget request list to post the request to create budget set. You can view the budget code or sets generated from budget request through the budget maintenance screen. You can see the master information, details, totals, and a history record will be generated too. After a budget set is created, the budget checking capability should work properly. But if you found the budget amount is wrong, Now you can use the same request entry to adjust the budget amount. Select Adjust for the request type and select a budget set. You can go to Details page to adjust a budget amount for items. From here, not only budget amount but also used amount can also be adjusted. Tracking history will be generated in the budget maintenance for the budget set too. Now let's see how the RM budget checking works in the Web Purchase Requisition module. Click the budget button, you will see the RM budget screen, item, budget code, budget center, fixed period, budget amount, used amount, and other amount. If budget is exceeded, you will receive either warning or error message upon submission.
Okay, so that's about the topics we all the 12 topics we covered today. So any questions? I think we can Q&A now. Okay, so
I think all of you can unmute yourself to ask question. Or in fact, right, you also can type into the chat group. Okay. And while waiting for the question, right, I just want to share the next training topic. Okay. Okay, so this is the information we gather based on I think the registration. So far, the top two, which is AI power AP invoice automation. So we are going to do it on next month, 15 July, and then 3 p.m. So watch out the email sent from contact@ERP Advanced Asia. Maybe tomorrow or next Monday, you will be able to receive the invitation. Okay. So yeah, that is what will be the coming up. Okay. Do we have anyone have any question?
Okay, I think Linda, the Nanhui is asking when we do the auto posting, the system will send out the email notification as per menu posting.
I have answered the question.
Think. Oh,
Yes.
answer already. Okay. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So the answer is yes. Also another
Okay.
question from Nur.
Yeah,
It's yeah.
Aziza. Yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah,
one is
whether you
Lampad.
use Lampad, right? Yeah.
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 Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I think we will share the recording. Also, we'll share the PPT. So just watch out the email. And then yeah. Yeah, one more question. Does norming project and job costing module requires 6300 PJC?
Yes. Yes. It will.
Oh, so Cesar, actually yeah, what norming has a project module, but it can only handle very simple project management, more focused on the project scheduling and resource planning. So if you need some, very flexible or very complicated project costing or billing, you have to use Sage PJSA. Right? But norming can integrate with PJSA as Lingjie shared with you guys just now. Okay.
Okay. Any more question? Yeah, we can wait another like 3 minutes. Yeah, so we will run this training first, and I know the rest actually a lot of consultant interested in AP PO invoice requisition, AP invoice requisition, and AP payment. So we will discuss with Linda, and then we will share the training schedule accordingly. Okay. And also feel free to let us know maybe like even after like let's say the PR training. Oh, okay. So one more question for configuration. Okay, let me see the okay. Linda,
Yeah.
okay.
For
It's,
confirmation, norming
The
DB.
configuration. Yeah.
The one is for multiple company approval. It requires a module-based license. Just now we share.
Just one license, right?
Yes.
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 Yes, just one
It's
license.
similar like the RFQ. So
Yeah.
it's not by user, it's just by
Module based.
one license.
Module based.
Yeah.
Yeah, module based.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So okay, no worry. I think after your take a look, if you still have question, you can still actually drop us an email, and then we will work with Linda to reply. Okay. Yeah. Okay, then that's all for today. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you and
Thank you.
bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.